Evening, guys. Just a quick video to explain what's going to be going on over the next couple of months, the off season, and also to explain the differences between the elite and the intermediate programs. I'm not sure whether or not we're going to be renaming those, or what the plan is as far as that's concerned. But just to sort of highlight the differences, because we're changing things up a little bit. Over the last year since I've been programming, the intermediate has just been basically a watered down version of the elite program, where you've done snippets of and small segments of the elite program. It's going to change going forward, and I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. Firstly, I want to explain what's happening this week. So obviously the Open is now over. Congratulations to everyone that's competed, taken part, and well done. I hope you're happy with your results. And if you're not, then analyze where you went wrong, what your worst workout was. Drop one of the guys a message. Could it be a technique issue? Is it a strength issue? Whatever it might be, let us know, and let's try and help improve that going into October. This week is going to be a deload, so we're going to do some lower volume. It's only going to be one session a week. The intermediate and the elite programs are identical this week. One session a week, a little bit of percentage work with some lifting, just ticking over, and a Metcon, some EMOM stuff. And it's just a matter of refreshing, getting ourselves ready to go, going into a 2 weeks testing phase, which is going to be pretty intense, and just we want to see where everybody is at, give you a good chance to recover before we get into that. We're going to do 2 weeks of testing. We're going to test a whole myriad of things, testing your strength, your gymnastics, your certain Metcons, and a couple of testers that I come up with to test different movements under fatigue, and along with your open workouts, we should have a real good idea of where you're at as an athlete then. After that 2 weeks of testing, we're going to go into a hypertrophy block. Now, hypertrophy, in terms of back when I was a rugby player and all that sort of thing, was about getting big and getting strong and all that. This is not a pure hypertrophy block in that regards. For us, it's a matter of building strength, building resilience, building connective tissue strength, and basically preparing your body for the strength gains that we're looking to get in that strength block. We're looking to make sure that your body is capable of improving strength, increasing strength, and capable of managing the heavier loads that you're going to do. Imagine your legs and your knees and your ankles are going to go through a lot of stress when you're squatting 10 kilo PBs. We need to prepare those joints for that, and we need to prepare those muscles for that, and that's what this hypertrophy block is for. After that hypertrophy block, I'm going to talk you through what happens in our pre-season. So you can see this little pyramid here, the off-season, sorry, not the pre-season. At the base of this pyramid, and this is our CrossFit Sport pyramid, we've got aerobic capacity, strength, and skills. Skills is actually outside of the pyramid. It's the whole thing. Like, if you haven't got the skills, then it doesn't matter. I've just put them there for a reference. And then at the peak of that pyramid is your sports performance. That is your lactate threshold, your ability to do workouts, your ability to recover, all that other stuff that comes into a competitive environment. At the moment, this is where we're at, and I use this sort of diagram, this analogy across the board, is that our strength and our aerobic capacity are on the small side, because we haven't been focusing on those. We've been focusing on our sports performance leading into the Open during the pre-season and in season. And what we're going to do now in this off season is we're going to take away from that sports performance, and we're going to start ploughing in some time and effort into our strength and into our aerobic capacity, and basically build the base of this pyramid a little bit bigger. So you see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red arrows going out, and I've got 4 going into strength and 4 going into aerobic capacity. So what happens in these 16 weeks of off season is that our strength and our aerobic capacity will have grown specifically, and our total number of arrows now has increased. So instead of having 4 arrows that went in to aerobic capacity and 4 arrows that went into strength, we have now got 6 arrows worth of energy in both of these that we can now take out and start putting back into that sports performance. So that sports performance has now got the potential to be bigger and better than it was this time last year. Every 10% we find here and 10% we find here is 20% that we can improve our overall performance. Okay. This is the format for the elite program. So the elite program, the 2-a-day sessions, we're going to be focused on splitting our strength and our aerobic capacity work separately and increasing that individually, so that we can then pour that back into that sports performance. Now, this is where the difference is going to come into the intermediate program. The intermediate program is going to be a completely separate program now. It's going to be totally different to the elite. It's going to be one session a day, or it can be split if you want to split it, depending on how your lifestyle is, depending on how your time factors are. But the focus is going to be on generally improving you across the board in all 3 aspects. So improving your strength, improving your aerobic capacity, and improving your sports performance at the same time. Now, I will say this is not the most efficient way to do things. This is the most efficient way to do things. Get big performance enhancement in strength and endurance, and then plow that back in to our sport. However, it is possible to improve all things at once. It just takes a little bit more time. But what it does mean is that for people that are competing throughout the season, for people that are doing competitions every couple of months, that are doing Tribal Clash, and then they got to go to Rainhill, and then they're going to do FRF or whatever it might be, and they're consistently doing competitions, this is probably going to suit you a little bit better, because you're never actually off season. You're never actually unfit. The guys that are doing this, what you might feel is that you're actually not great at CrossFit. And the peak of this at around about week 10 to 14, 15, 16, you're probably going to feel like if you jumped into a class that you get beaten by people that you should be beating. But that's because you've been focusing on this and focusing on this. And when we fill that back up, you're going to absolutely crush them. It's the long game. This is the guys that are looking to go into the Open, the guys that are looking to qualify for sanctionals in 2020, the guys that are trying to build and build and build going forward. This is for the guys that just want to be good at CrossFit right here, right now, and they want to be able to compete next week, they want to compete in a month's time, and they don't want to have to stress out about peaking and about off seasons and all that other stuff. You're still going to get a good whack of conditioning, you're going to get a good whack of strength, and we're going to tip that off with metcons that are specific to the sport. I will say that underpinning both of these programs, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of gymnastic work. And that's the same as it has been over the last year, is improving you across the board. So hopefully that gives you a good idea and a good understanding of what the 2 programs are, and that the whole elite and intermediate thing is not actually at your ability. It's not actually targeted at certain individuals. It's based on what your preferences are for how your training is going to be, and what competitions, what your structure is looking for. So like I said, yeah, this is the long term. This is the guys that are looking further down the line, a couple of months down the line, and already potentially focusing on the Open in October, or sanctionals going through to the next season. And this here is for the guys that have got competitions coming up, guys that are just focusing on enjoying their CrossFit and just getting generally better across the board without really putting all their eggs in one basket. I hope that makes sense. As always, just drop us a message if you've got any questions, and I'll try my best to answer. Take care.